Hi YouTube, ZipDisc here, doing my response to KalElPrime's Getting to Know a Transformers Fan. Third strike! Curse you, KalElPrime. Now I have to go play Street Fighter 3 again. Oh, of course, I love the game, so it's not so bad. Well, I've already answered the first 10 questions last year, so let's get on with the next 5. 11, how close have you come to getting your Holy Grail? Well, my Holy Grail has changed slightly. What it is now is a G1 Dazaris from Japan. Yes, KalElPrime, my Holy Grail is the enemy of your Holy Grail! I also like a Star Saber, but, you know, Dazaris is actually harder to find. One of my grails was Trypticon, which I now have behind me there on the shelf. If you see him, he is right there underneath my index finger. I love the figure. I'm a huge fan of dinosaur formers, which may be one of the reasons I want Dazaris, even though he turns into some sort of weird dino bird thing. Someday, maybe, if I'm lucky. 12! What has been the best toy you have purchased over the last 12 months? Easy. Masterpiece Skywarp. It's my very first Masterpiece figure. I like Skywarp. He's probably, just color-wise, my favorite of the 3 Seekers. I think his color scheme just screams Decepticon! And I love that. Think he's a great figure. Really like the transformation, but then I'm a huge Kawamori fan, and he's very Macrossy at times, so yay! What for you is the best piece of Transformers fiction ever? Animated Season 3. Good story, good characters, good use of the franchise, lots of little cameos, lots of goofy little things, but at the same time, at its core, it was a very dark story. I liked the whole season, pretty much, especially from This Is Why I Hate Machines on. That was great. Or was it the... Actually, I think it was the episode before that I thought was the best, where it started. The episode was Swindle, where Swindle breaks free and frees the other Decepticons, and they end up, you know... that's a great episode. And from then on, the series was just perfection. And I'm so mad they didn't do a Season 4, because it was setting up for something epic. Can't wait for the second Allspark Almanac. That'll be good to see what they had for plans. Question 14. Which Transformers continuity is your continuity and why? I'm going to do the cop-out answer and say G1, but with a massive caveat. I was 9 when G1 came out, so that is definitely my continuity. I worked in gardens for a summer to get a few figures. Had a Perceptor, still love Perceptor. Got another one thanks to Dr. Prime, which is great. Still love that figure. Still mess with it all the time, even though it's sitting on my shelf right now. But my Transformers continuity is G1, with the caveat that I never saw the Rebirth until recently when I picked up the new box sets from Shout Factory, good box sets. I watched up through the middle of Season 3 when I was a kid, and then things happened. And I stopped watching it, mainly because they changed the time when it was on, and I couldn't get home from school in time to catch it because I didn't take the bus. I walked home for a mile and a half to get to school and back when I was living in Billings, Montana. So I never saw the ending. However, years later, going back, I thought Headmasters was Season 4 because there wasn't an American Season 4, at least that's what I thought. So I watched the Headmasters. To me, Japanese G1 in some way makes more sense than American G1, and let me tell you why. There is the 5-year gap between the movie and Transformers 2010, which was Transformers Season 3 in the U.S. The Transformers Season 3 in the U.S. seems to pick up directly off the movie, but that doesn't explain why the Autobots are not completely in control of Cybertron. There are no Decepticons anywhere on the planet, and all the Decepticons are a ragtag bunch of falling apart trash on the planet Char. It also doesn't explain how Galvatron would have gone insane from sitting in a little puddle of molten lava or magma or whatever that goop was for a couple of months. I mean, we've seen characters take far more damage than that and not go insane. Whereas when you look at the 5-year gap, you have a lot more story time. There's a lot more going on in the 5-year gap if you look at the Japanese continuity. And KISS Players, reviled as it is, gives a much better explanation for why Galvatron is such a horribly psychotic, shattered personality. I just prefer the Japanese G1 after Season 2 of the G1 series. Yeah, you got the problem of Daniel not being any older, but I hate Daniel anyway, so I forget about him. But that's my continuity, and I'm sticking to it. And you get the Headmasters, and I like the explanation for the Headmasters a lot better in Japan than I do in the US. I don't like the Nebulan characters. I don't like the way the Rebirth handled things. I think it was shoddily put together and rushed just to get it out the door to sell toys. And not that I'm saying Headmasters from Japan is not made to sell toys. Don't get me wrong on that. What I am saying is it was a more coherent story, and I like the idea of the Headmasters being small robots who, to survive, built the Transtectors, which are unliving, large bodies that give them the ability to compete with the large Transformers. I like that better. Also, the Planet Master, it helps explain Micromasters and whatnot, and I like the whole concept. It just makes more sense to me and seems more science fiction-y than and more consistent. But then, of course, I like Master Force, which is pretty much the problem I just stated about about the Rebirth, but it was well written and well done and well executed, and the characters were likable. You didn't just have one or two lines from some of these characters and that was it. You got fleshed out characters, and I really think that Lady Mega was pretty cute. Okay, question 15. What aside from Transformers do you enjoy as a hobby and why? I like comic books. I'm enjoying myself some Blackest Night, Brightest Day. I'm also reading Siege. I'm more of a DC fan these days than a Marvel fan, but I'm slowly going back to Marvel. Some of the stuff they did with Spider-Man in the 90s and the X-Men just drove me up the wall. The whole Clone Saga thing was drawn out and nonsensical. Things after Age of Apocalypse got really silly with the X-Men, and I got so sick of pouches, and I got sick of Rob Liefeld, basically, and his influence on things. And that's to this day why I can't read Deadpool. I know everyone says it's a great comic, but I can't read it because I can't stand the character because he reminds me so much of all the 90s crap that drove me away from Marvel in the first place. But I'm coming back to Marvel slowly but surely, and that leads me into my next thing I really enjoy. Video games. Particularly the Capcom and SNK fighting games from the late 90s, early 2000s. The Versus series were brilliant. King of Fighters, great games. The Street Fighter series, the Alpha series, and then 3 were fantastically fun. I still remember going to a convention and staying up all night playing Street Fighter Alpha 3 on an import PlayStation. Brilliant games, all of them. And I need to get a new system before Marvel vs. Capcom 3 comes out. Also need a new system because War for Cybertron is coming out, but that's another story. Other things I enjoy? Doctor Who! Yes, I'm a Whovian. I bought Radio Times issues just from England over the internet just to get info on Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm that much of a geek at times. My favorite Doctor, Patrick Troughton. Just love his stuff. I love the whole thing that introduced so many of the monsters. So many monsters. I'm so sad that so many of those episodes are missing, so I'll never get a chance to see them. But I've got Telesnap reconstructions of a lot of them, so that's good. Also, I like my Japanese live-action shows. A lot of people are on the Kamen Rider kick right now. I can't blame them. I found Kamen Rider in about 2001 when Agito was on, which is still a fantastic series. Top 3 Kamen Rider series for me, in no particular order. Faiz, Agito, Kiva. Those are my 3. My 3 absolute favorites in the whole franchise right now. Faiz was brilliant until the end. Agito was brilliant even the end. And Kiva was just a lot of fun. And I discovered him through Sentai. The Sentai series was what really got me started on the Japanese live-action stuff. Aside from Godzilla movies, which I also adore, as you can see from my Godzillas over there on my shelf with Triptychon. Love Godzilla. Love Kamen Rider, love the Sentai stuff. Got introduced to Sentai through a show called Kaku Ranger, which was where they got the Ninja Zords and stuff from Season 3 of Power Rangers, you know, when they had the Falcon Zord and the Ape Zord and the Frog Zord and all that stuff. Great series, very funny in the Japanese version. There's an entire episode where the villains kidnap the narrator, and from that point on in the series, he never shows up again because he quits, which is hilarious. Loved it. Anyway, this has been my response to KalElPrime's Third Strike, getting to know a Transformers fan. And I gotta go play some Street Fighter 3. Gotta go kick some butt with Chun-Li. Take it easy, folks. Enjoy the video. Bye-bye.